You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the name assigned to you at birth. You are not the sum of your circumstances, your failures, or even your greatest victories. You are something far more sacred than all of these. You are pure imagination. You are the eternal I am. You are the indwelling Christ. And when this is not merely understood by the intellect, but known inwardly in the silence of deep stillness, then you begin to understand what it truly means to let go, to relax, and to trust the universe. To let go is not to surrender in defeat. It is the highest act of faith. It is the moment you cease struggling with appearances and acknowledge that the power within you is greater than any effort you could ever exert in the outer world. To let go is to stop forcing life to obey your anxiety. It is to stop wrestling with circumstances and begin assuming the inner state that already belongs to your desire. And in that assumption, the world must eventually bend. But first, you must trust. You must rest in the knowing that the Father within you is doing the work. Do not mistake relaxation for passivity. It is not laziness. It is not indifference. Relaxation is surrender, and surrender is strength refined to its purest form. When you truly relax, you are declaring within yourself that it is already done. There is nothing more for you to prove, nothing more for you to chase, nothing more for you to force into being. In that peace, manifestations emerge with a grace and precision that effort alone could never produce. You do not create by striving. You create by knowing. You do not attract by chasing. You attract by being. When night falls and you close your eyes, when the noise of the world begins to fade and stillness gathers around you like a sacred cloak, you meet the real you, the operant power, the one who can revise the past, transform the present, and open the future. That quiet presence within you, that still small voice, is the very intelligence of the universe. And this is what you are asked to trust. To trust the universe is to trust yourself, for there is no real separation. The world is yourself pushed outward into form. Therefore, to attempt control over the outer while neglecting the inner is to deny your own divine origin. Letting go begins the moment you stop seeking confirmation from what your senses report. The world is only a mirror. If you continue to search it for signs, proof, and validation, you remain enslaved by appearances. But when you dare to feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you sink so deeply into that feeling that it becomes natural, you have let go of the old self and taken on the new. You are no longer the one who hopes. You are the one who knows. There is a holy art to trusting the unseen. That art is assumption. When you assume something to be true, without evidence, without argument, without visible confirmation, you plant your order in the invisible. And if you remain faithful to that assumption, the visible must eventually conform. The law cannot fail. It has no choice but to reflect the inner conviction you hold. But you must be still. You must rest in that knowing and permit the old world to pass away. The old cannot accompany you into the new. The caterpillar must yield to the cocoon before it can emerge as the butterfly. The more you try to force a manifestation, the more you confirm its absence. The more you talk about it, worry about it, and strategize for it, the more you remain in the state of not having it. And this is why so many never receive what they desire. They have not truly let go. They are still reaching, still pleading, still grasping. But desire is not fulfilled by begging. It is fulfilled by assuming. The end of yearning is receiving, and receiving is the fruit of inner acceptance. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot say, I have it, while inwardly fearing it may never come. You cannot clearly imagine a thing and then speak of it as impossible. If your inner conversation contradicts your desire, then your desire is not yet your dominant state. Change your inner speech. Speak to yourself as though it is already so. Hear the tones of reality in your own mind. Hear the congratulatory voice. Walk with the posture of one who has already prevailed. This is the way, not by might, nor by power, but by spirit. Relaxation is receptivity. It is stillness. It is the fertile ground into which the seed of imagination is planted. If you plant a seed and then dig it up each day to check whether it has grown, it will never flourish. The universe works in the same way. Assume your wish has already been granted. Feel the relief. Smile at the unseen. Rest in the knowledge that your part is complete. The rest is automatic. The bridge of incidents will unfold by itself. You are not responsible for the how. You are only responsible for the state. This is the secret. Everything is already finished. You are not creating something from nothing. You are selecting from what already is. Within the infinite imagination of God, all things exist. Every possibility, every outcome, every version of yourself is already present. You simply align with it by assuming its reality. You step into that version of yourself, and the world rearranges itself to match. But this happens only when you trust, only when you relax, only when you release the need to make it happen. Many say, I have been visualizing, I have been affirming, but nothing is changing. And the reason is simple. They are still holding on. They are clinging to the desire instead of dwelling in fulfillment. Their faith is still in the outer world, not the inner one. They wait for the world to prove their assumption, instead of allowing their assumption to prove the world. But you must reverse this order. You must place the weight of your belief upon the unseen. That is the only way the unseen becomes seen. Trusting the universe is not blindness. It is spiritual sight. You see with the eye of imagination. You walk by faith, not by facts. You speak as though the thing you desire has already been received, because in the higher reality it already has. Time is only a construct. In imagination, everything is now. And the instant you truly accept a new state, everything begins shifting to support it. People move, events align, doors open. Not because you forced them, but because you surrendered into the truth of what you are. What is surrender but a silent agreement with God that you are what you desire to be? What is letting go but the refusal to entertain anything that contradicts your vision? It is not weakness, it is mastery. The one who rests in faith is the one who commands the world. The one who can sit in silence and know it is done is the one who shapes destiny. The one who needs no external proof is the one who becomes the proof. So go within, shut the door, enter the secret place, and from that stillness declare who you are, not with empty words, but with feeling. Let the feeling become your dwelling place. Let it saturate your thoughts, and then release. Do not ask when or how or through whom. That is not your concern. If it were your concern, then you would be burdened with the work of being God. But you are not here to carry burdens. You are here to remember that your Father has already provided. You must become like a child. A child does not question a promise from a loving parent. A child receives in simplicity, in innocence, in joy. So must you return to that state. Become light again. Let the weight of worry fall away. Let go of timing. Let go of details. Let go of the need to possess it immediately. For the moment you no longer need it, it is yours. The moment you release your grip, it comes to you. This is the paradox of creation. This is the mystery of trust. Do not think of the world, think only of the state. The world is always reflecting the state. Change the state, and the world must change with it. That is the law. You cannot dwell in wealth and continuously see poverty. You cannot dwell in love and endlessly experience rejection. If what you see does not yet match what you desire, do not be deceived. It is only the shadow of an old state. Persist in the new one. Let it impress itself upon your being. And wait not with impatience, but with peace. I tell you now, the moment you let go, the current carries you. A river does not need your frantic effort to reach the sea. It flows toward its destination whether you struggle or rest. But if you resist it, if you try to control it, you create turbulence. You disturb what could have been smooth. Your job is not to row against the current. Your job is to trust it. That current is your inner knowing. It is your assumption. It is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Dwell there, and the world bends. Do not confuse doing with being. You do not need to do more. You need to be more. Be more of who you truly are. Be the version of you that already has what you desire. Speak like them. Walk like them. Sleep like them. Imagine like them. That is the secret. And when you are them, there is nothing left to seek, nothing left to chase, nothing left to wait for. You are already home. Relax. The universe is not outside of you, it is within you. You are the universe expressing itself through form. You are the one who decides what reality reflects. And when you align with that truth, you no longer panic when appearances seem wrong. You no longer beg for signs or synchronicities. You simply know. You say, "It is done," and continue with your day. That is power. That is trust. That is how you let go. So tonight, before you sleep, release the day. Release the fears, the doubts, the questions. Sink into your imagination. Feel the wish fulfilled. Hear the words you have longed to hear. See the world through the eyes of one who has already received. And then sleep. Drift into that sacred dream, knowing that the seed has been planted. And tomorrow, walk as though the harvest has already come. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe is waiting on you to relax, to trust, to remember. You already are, you already have, you already know. So let go, be still, and watch the world conform. As you rest in this knowing, allow the natural rhythm of life to carry you. Do not rush to interfere. Do not become anxious about the lack of movement. The most profound changes are often invisible in the beginning. Just as a seed takes root before it ever breaks the soil, your assumption takes root in the unseen. And the unseen is more real than the seen, for it is the cause, while the seen is only the effect. Those who walk by appearances are forever tossed by the winds of circumstance. But those who walk by inner vision, by the law of assumption, stand firm even when the world speaks otherwise. You are called to move in faith, not because you are pretending, but because you are aligning. Pretending is hollow. Assuming is alive. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to embody a higher reality now, not someday. And once you embody it inwardly, you can trust the outer world to reflect it in due course. The outer is always behind the inner. What you are feeling now will soon become what you are seeing. But it must begin with feeling. That is why your primary work is not to manipulate events, but to govern your inner state. Not with force, but with gentle attention. Not with panic, but with quiet conviction. Remember the many times you tried to make something happen through sheer effort. Remember the strain, the frustration, the exhaustion. And now remember the moments when things simply fell into place without warning, without struggle, as though by grace. That was not luck. That was the universe responding to your state. When you were relaxed, detached, and aligned, the doors opened. When you were clinging, doubting, and resisting, the doors remained closed. So the wise soul learns to let go, not because it is easy, but because it is effective. You let go not to lose control, but to return to the only true control, inner dominion. And what does inner dominion look like? It looks like a man or woman who no longer reacts but chooses, who no longer fears but imagines, who no longer begs but lives as though the desire is already theirs. You have seen glimpses of this power in your own life. The moment you truly decided something, it happened. The moment you no longer entertain the opposite, reality conformed. This is not coincidence, this is law. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Relaxation is the soil in which belief takes root. If you affirm with your lips but deny with your emotions, nothing will grow. But if you speak gently to yourself in the silence of your mind, if you dwell in the end with calm certainty, then even the most stubborn reality must yield. The universe is not deaf, it is not blind, it is exact. And it answers every vibration with precision. If you emit doubt, you receive more doubt. If you emit certainty, you receive what certainty brings. There is no partial credit in this law. You receive according to your dominant state. So make peace your dominant state. Make fulfillment your home, not merely a place you visit, but the place where you live. Do not concern yourself with outer facts. They are only shadows of old beliefs. The moment you change the root, the branches must change too. The moment you revise the inner man, the outer world has no choice but to follow. For the outer is not creative, it is responsive. And you are not its victim, you are its cause. You are the one who sets the tone. So if the music of life sounds off key, change the vibration within. Tune your inner instrument. Feel again the beauty of your wish fulfilled. Hear again the sweet song of already having. And rest. Every great teacher has spoken of this power. Whether they called it faith, imagination, spirit, or I am, the message was always the same. The power is within you. And yet we forget. We look outside. We ask others for permission. We wait for circumstances to change. But nothing changes until we do. The moment you reclaim your imagination, you reclaim your world. And imagination requires relaxation, not effort. It blooms in stillness. It reveals its wonders when you trust. Let go of timing. Let go of comparison. Let go of watching the clock or measuring the process. These only keep you in the state of not having. Instead, step into the timeless. Step into the eternal now. All things are now. You do not become. You reveal what you already are. And the fastest way to reveal it is to live as if, not to pretend, but to embody. Walk in it, think from it, love from it, give from it. And life will mirror back the version of you you have accepted. You may be tempted to say, but I do not see it yet. And to that I say, do not look with mortal eyes. See with the eye of imagination. See with the eye of God within you. That eye never sleeps, never doubts, never closes. When you see your desire in your mind's eye with clarity and feeling, you have planted the cause. The harvest must come. But like the farmer, you must allow the soil to do its work. You do not dig up the seed to make it grow faster. You do not pace through the fields to hurry the rain. You trust, you rest, and you know, if doubt arises, and it will, do not fight it. Do not panic. Simply return to the feeling. Return to the state. Re-enter the scene. Revise it. Reimagine it. For imagination is always available to you. It is the door to your freedom. You are never stuck unless you decide to be. You are never bound unless you accept the prison of appearances. But once you remember the secret, that your assumption creates your world, you are free. Do you want love? Assume you are already loved. Do you want wealth? Assume you are already wealthy. Do you want health? Assume you are already whole. And then walk in that identity. Let no thought, no word, and no action contradict it. Let your entire being say yes to it, and let go of everything else. Let go of needing proof. Let go of needing reassurance. Let go of the habit of worry. These are only the old man trying to return. But you are not him anymore. You are new. You have moved. You have changed states. And when you change states, the world must follow. It has no choice. The world is clay, and your assumption is the mold. Shape it gently, with faith, with joy, with the playful certainty of a child building a castle in the sand. The child does not fear the waves. The child builds, the child delights, and so must you. Live in the state of already having, not only in words, but in mood, in tone, in vibration. That is true letting go. Not the absence of desire, but the absence of resistance. And so you live, you love, you breathe, you rest, all from the place of knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is nothing more to do, only more to be. And in being, all things are added unto you. Soon you begin to notice subtle changes around you. Not because you went hunting for them, but because your inner atmosphere has changed. People respond to you differently. Opportunities appear where none seemed possible. Doors you never imagined begin to open with ease, and yet you do not chase them. You do not cling. You remain inwardly still, unshaken, because you know the truth of who you are and what you have accepted as yours. The world is only a mirror, and since your state is one of wholeness, peace, and possession, the world cannot help but reflect it in kind. Others may look at you and wonder at your calm. They may ask how you remain so certain, so composed in a world that seems so unstable. But you know your certainty is not born from external assurance. It is born from the inner sanctuary you have built. It is born from the practice of assumption. It is born from the understanding that you are not a servant of fate, but the master of your reality. And with this understanding, you no longer need to fight. You no longer need to beg. You simply persist in inner knowing, and the universe does the rest. To persist is not to strain. It is not to push harder. It is to rest more deeply in the assumption. It is to return to it every time the old self tries to speak. It is to say no, gently but firmly, to the voices of doubt. It is to re-enter the scene of your fulfilled desire again and again until it becomes your dwelling place. And in that dwelling, you are fed, you are guided, you are sustained. You no longer reach for signs. You become the sign. You no longer seek validation. You radiate conviction. Your presence itself speaks of fulfillment because it flows from within you like a quiet, unstoppable river. The more you relax, the more power you discover in imagination, the pictures become clearer, the feelings become deeper. You stop trying to control every detail. And in that release, you gain a control greater than any force could ever give you. You discover the truth Neville taught. Imagining creates reality, not effort. You realize that by feeling the end, by accepting the outcome now, you have already done the greatest work. Everything that follows is only the echo of your assumption made flesh. You are not here to suffer. You are not here to strive without end. You are here to awaken to your creative power. You are here to remember who you truly are, the operant power, the divine imagination, the I am. And once you truly remember, you no longer ask, when will it happen? You no longer beg the universe for crumbs. You realize that you are the baker, the oven, the flour, and the bread itself. Everything you desire is already within you, waiting for belief to give it shape, waiting for imagination to bring it forth. So you let go, not from weakness, but from supreme trust. You trust the seed you planted. You trust the process that follows. You trust the timing that may differ from your expectation, but is always perfect. You do not pull the flower from the ground to see whether it is growing. You water it with faith. You shine light upon it with joy. You speak to it with love. This is how the new you blossoms. This is how the fulfilled version of yourself takes root in the world. The moment you truly let go, you begin to enjoy life again. You notice beauty in small things. You appreciate the present moment because it is no longer empty. It is pregnant with fulfillment. Even before the physical manifestation appears, your soul is full. You walk as one who already has. You breathe as one who already owns. You speak as one whose word carries life. And the world begins to respond, not because you forced it, but because you became it. This is the secret so many overlook. They try to make it happen, and in trying, they affirm that it has not yet happened. But the one who relaxes, who rests in the vision, who assumes it already is, that one manifests with ease, not through magic, but through alignment, not through control, but through surrender. And surrender is not defeat, it is a return to your true self, the self that knows, the self that sees, the self that speaks I am and creates worlds. You were never meant to be at the mercy of the world. You were meant to master it, not by domination, but by assumption, not by noise, but by stillness. The stillness that knows your inner world holds all the keys. The stillness that understands imagination is the divine spark in man. And once that spark is lit, nothing can put it out unless you turn your attention away. So remain attentive, not with tension, but with reverence. Reverence for the sacred power within you. Speak to yourself in the silence of your heart. Speak as one who already has. Say, I am fulfilled. I am loved. I am secure. I am successful. Say it not to persuade yourself, but because it is true. And the more you say it, the more real it becomes. The more you feel it, the more the universe must bring it into form. For the universe is bound by law, and the law responds to feeling. The law responds to assumption. The law does not ask questions. It simply reflects. So you do not need to explain your desires to anyone. You do not need to justify your vision. You only need to enter the state. And once you are in the state, remain there gently. Let it soak into your bones. Let it become your new normal. And as it becomes normal inwardly, the world will normalize it outwardly. This is the way. This is the path. Not a path of effort, but of alignment. Not a path of striving, but of remembering. You remember who you are. You remember what you have. And in that remembrance, you are free. Do not fear delay. Delay is only the world catching up to your inner change. Do not fear silence. Silence is the sacred space where transformation is forming. Do not fear the void. The void is not emptiness. It is potential. And the one who can sit in the void with peace, trusting the unseen to take shape, is the one who will witness the greatest wonders. For they have mastered the art of letting go. They have learned the holy rhythm of rest. They have come home to the inner self, and there they have found all they need. There will still be moments when the world tempts you to worry. There will still be days when old thoughts whisper again. But you are no longer the same. You are aware now. You have seen the truth. And the truth is that nothing can harm the one who lives in the state of their fulfilled desire. Such a one is untouched, for they are not reacting to the world. They are creating it. They are not chasing outcomes. They are being the outcome. And so your work each day becomes simple. Return to the state. Relax. Let go of the how, the when, and the through whom. Trust the divine process. Know that all things are being arranged on your behalf, perfectly, effortlessly, and in divine timing. You need not control the process. You only need to control the assumption. You only need to feel the end. And from that end, you live, you speak, you move. And life becomes your mirror. You begin to realize that letting go is not surrendering your power, but reclaiming it. When you release the need to control the outer, you return to the seat of true control, the inner. And in that seat, you discover that nothing is denied you except by your own refusal to believe. But now you believe. Now you assume. Now you rest. Not because you are finished, but because you are fulfilled. Fulfillment is not waiting at the end of a journey. It is waiting inside the assumption. It is waiting for you to say yes and mean it. It is waiting for you to feel it real. And when you do, the rest unfolds like a flower opening to the sun, naturally, silently, beautifully. The flower does not ask when it will bloom. It does not question whether it is worthy of the sunlight. It opens because opening is its nature, and so do you. In the stillness of assumption, you unfold into the person you have always longed to be. It no longer feels foreign, it no longer feels forced, it feels like coming home. You do not try to become, you recognize that you already are. The desire you once pursued now radiates from you as quiet certainty. Every moment becomes an invitation to return to that inner knowing. And when you catch yourself drifting, when you feel the pull of worry or the echo of doubt, do not scold yourself. Simply return. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Come back to the state of the wish fulfilled. Remember the truth. I am that. And in remembering, you realign. The more you do this, the less the outer world can move you, the less you are swayed by appearances, for you have chosen the inner world as your foundation. As Neville taught, do not concern yourself with the facts. Facts are only past assumptions made visible. You do not struggle against them. You do not deny them. You transcend them. You assume anew. And in assuming, you rise above them. You are no longer the product of circumstance. You are the cause of circumstance. You are the dreamer within the dream. And once you know this, you cannot return to sleep. You are awake now. And the awakened one does not try. The awakened one imagines. The awakened one does not force. The awakened one feels. The awakened one does not doubt. The awakened one dwells. You do not attempt to make something happen in the outer world, because you understand the outer world is not where creation begins. The outer world is the screen. The inner world is the projector. And the image upon the screen is always the result of the assumption within. So you polish the lens of imagination. You clear away the fog of fear. You make room for clarity and precision in your inner vision. And you let that vision speak louder than any present condition. No longer do you plead with life to give you what you want. No longer do you beg the heavens for favor. You assume the heavens are within you. You understand that the kingdom of heaven is not far away. It is the state you occupy. It is the feeling of having. It is the inner conviction that what you imagined is already yours. And from this inner kingdom, all things flow. From this place of peace, miracles arise, not as anomalies, but as natural outcomes of a mastered mind. This is why you relax. This is why you let go. Not because you are passive, but because you are powerful. Not because you have given up, but because you have taken up residence in the feeling of the end. And that feeling, once established, becomes your new world. Your conversations change, your energy changes, your posture reflects confidence. People sense the difference, not because you are louder, but because you are aligned. Not because you are trying to become something, but because you are resting in your being. In that being, the universe conspires. In that being, all things are added. You do not need to plot, strive, or manipulate. You simply trust, not blind trust, but intelligent trust. A trust built on the deep knowing that the law is perfect and imagination is the only reality. What you hold within will be held without. What you consent to inwardly will materialize outwardly. This is not superstition, this is law. This is how reality is formed. So again and again, return to the feeling. Nourish it. Visit the scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Feel the tone of reality within that scene. Feel its naturalness. And when you rise from that moment, carry that tone into the world. Walk as one who has. Act as one who already possesses. Not to fool the world, but because the world follows feeling. And your feeling is no longer lack, it is possession. You do not need to convince anyone else. You do not need to defend your dream. You do not even need to speak of it. Your inner state is the true prayer, the real request, and it is heard in silence. The universe responds to what you are, not merely to what you say. It reflects what you accept as true. So accept it now, not in the distant future, not after proof, now. And live from that acceptance. Breathe from that place. Sleep in that assumption. In the stillness of the night, do not rehearse problems. Rehearse fulfillment. Do not entertain the worst possible outcome. Dwell in the best. See it, feel it, fall asleep in it. This is how the subconscious mind is impressed. Not by force, but by repetition. Not by struggle, but by ease. And as the subconscious accepts the new assumption, the outer world must conform. It cannot do otherwise, for it is obedient to the inner world. You begin to see every delay as a gift, every detour as a divine arrangement, because your inner knowing is unshaken. You are no longer moved by time, you are moved by truth. And the truth is that you have already claimed it within, and therefore it must appear without, not as a reward, but as a reflection, not as a surprise, but as certainty. You planted the seed, you watered it with feeling, you kept the soil of your mind fertile with belief, and now the harvest comes. Others may marvel at your peace. They may wonder how you remain so grounded. But you know the secret. You know that real power is silent. It does not shout. It does not prove. It simply is. And because you are that power, you move differently. You trust more. You let go sooner. You no longer cling to the outer. You return to the inner. And in that return, you discover that all things are given. You no longer measure success by appearances. You measure it by your ability to feel it real. You no longer wait for evidence. You become the evidence. You no longer ask whether it is working. You know it is done. That knowing becomes your anchor. It becomes your home. And from that home, you create worlds. You walk into situations that once intimidated you, now fully aware of your authority. You speak with quiet confidence. You act with bold assurance. You do not overthink because the feeling has taken root. The state is now your dwelling. You do not visit it, you live in it. And because you live in it, the world must shape itself around it. Old fears may try to whisper again, but you smile. You know they have no power here. You have seen the light, and the light dissolves every shadow. You rest, you relax, and in that release, you rise. The universe was never against you. It was merely waiting for you to assume the posture of one who knows. Now you know, now you trust, now you allow. So let this be the moment you surrender. Not to circumstance, but to truth. Let this be the moment you stop chasing and begin assuming. Let this be the moment you realize that the only thing that ever stood between you and your desire was the belief that you needed to try. You do not need to try. You need to trust. You need to enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled and dwell there calmly, confidently, silently. The universe is not withholding anything from you. It is only reflecting the state you choose to occupy. So choose now. Choose to feel it real. Choose to rest in the knowing that it is already done, and watch as the world bends to mirror your inner conviction. Let go, relax, trust the universe, and you will find that the miraculous becomes your everyday reality. This is Never Lectures. I'll see you again in the next video.